Hi, I'm Dr. Janine, and in today's 9 and 9, I'm talking about rheumatoid arthritis. So my prediction is post-pandemic and everything that's happened with everybody having to stay indoors in the last couple of months at least, that we're going to see an increase in autoimmune disorders. And rheumatoid arthritis is probably one of the ones that we're going to see a lot of. And this is the autoimmune component of our body attacking our own cells, and certainly with a lot of pain and inflammation in the joints. And this is something that we can have a positive impact on and doing it naturally. So tip number 1 is having a healthy microbiome. So making sure that we have enough of those good guys, the probiotics, in that healthy microbiome. These are active live microflora that really help to protect against an imbalance, and the unhealthy microbiome that we can take a look at here, in which we see a lot of parasites and candida, those bad organisms. We don't want to see this swamp thing happening. We want to have enough of the good guys, the probiotics, to help to make sure that we have this proper balance in the gut. And this has a lot to do with our immunity and developing those autoimmune disorders, rheumatoid arthritis, of course, being one of them. So finding that natural balance is important. Tip number 2 is to eliminate sugar. So as much as possible, if you can decrease your sugar intake, and of course, from all types of sugar. So certainly the more refined types of sugar are worse, but even fruit sugar and drinking fruit juices and things that are really sweet, they can also feed those bad gut bacteria and those bad parasites, and we don't want to do that. So to find this healthy balance in our microbiome, we really want to limit and cut out those sugars. Tip number 3 is having enough omega-3 fatty acids in the diet. So these are healthy fats. In our diets, often we have too much of the omega-6s. We don't have enough of those omega-3s, and the omega-3s are anti-inflammatory. So with rheumatoid arthritis, certainly being an inflammatory condition, we want to make sure that we are mitigating that inflammation and decreasing that by having enough of the omega-3 fatty acids. I have a study which shows that specifically with rheumatoid arthritis, that the consumption of the omega-3 fatty acids was found to significantly improve 8 disease activity related markers, especially inflammation, and leukotriene B4 was reduced. So this is really important in terms of that inflammatory response and that connection with the immune system when we're talking about those omega-3s and specifically rheumatoid arthritis. Tip number 4 is to get enough sleep. So sleep has a lot to do with the regenerative programming of our organs, and to make sure that we are getting into that proper circadian rhythm. And when we're talking about autoimmunity, we're talking about inflammation, our body detoxifies when we're sleeping, our body relaxes when we're sleeping. So it's really important to get that restful night's sleep, and that'll go a long way for treating that inflammation and of course doing it naturally. So tip number 5 is getting enough sunshine. So we know that sunshine gives us natural vitamin D, and it's vitamin D3 that we need, and often we can't get enough of that natural sunlight exposure. I know that we use our sunscreens and we cover up, and depending on where you live in the world. So this is really important that you're getting that D3. D3 has an anti-inflammatory effect, so really important for rheumatoid arthritis. So if you're not getting that natural exposure and you're wanting to protect your skin, it really does need to be supplemented. So always make sure that you're taking vitamin D3. That's the best absorbed form of vitamin D. Tip number 6 is turmeric, and turmeric has an active component called curcumin. And in the study, so a randomized, double-blind, placebo-controlled, so 3-arm parallel group study, so the gold standard of studies, has shown that curcumin with the turmeric matrix acts as an analgesic and a natural anti-inflammatory agent, especially in managing RA, so rheumatoid arthritis. So, mainstream medicine is recognizing the fact that these potent herbal medicines, and especially that curcumin, so you always want to be looking for 95% curcuminoids to be able to have that positive impact, especially for that inflammation inflammation. Tip number 7 is deep breathing exercises. So deep breathing really helps to get the diaphragm going, helps with the anti-inflammatory effect, helps to relieve stress in the body. And something called the breath of fire is really important. It can actually increase your internal energy and that your temperature as well, which is fantastic. So I know people that practice cold therapy and cold exposure. If you've seen Wim Hof, you know that deep breathing, whether it's Wim Hof breathing or the breath of fire from yoga, is a fantastic way to offset and get rid of some of those toxins, but also to help to alkalinize the body. So this is fantastic. I hope that you try it. We're going to have a future video on this breathing technique. Tip number 8 is exercise. So exercise, but doing it in a specific way. So I know that if you're suffering with pain and inflammation, whether it is rheumatoid arthritis or any other type of pain and inflammation in the body, something that is hard to do is to exercise and to get the positive aspects and benefits from exercise when you're in pain. So there's something called KAATSU, or blood restricted flow training. So when you're restricting blood flow in a specific way, what it helps to do is to improve muscle strength and mass, and even the function of the muscles when you're restricting that blood flow in the right way, and really has had a positive impact on patients with rheumatoid arthritis. So something to really look into. So I promise that we're going to have future episodes on the blood restrictive flow training. And one of the studies has shown that it has been effective in improving the muscle strength and the muscle mass, specifically in people who have rheumatoid arthritis. So that's really promising. Basically what you do is you strap up. So if you're working your upper arms, you're strapping up and restricting, not fully, but partially restricting that blood flow in the upper arms. You can also do it at the tops of the legs when you're training your legs, and you can do this for cardio as well. So I put on my straps when I'm riding the bike, and you leave them on for about 20 minutes and you're restricting that blood flow, but you really do get that extra pump in the muscles. So if you've got pain and you have difficulty exercises, you can work out for a less amount of time and with less resistance, so you don't need as heavy weights to get the same kind of impacts when you're doing this type of exercise. Tip number 9 is the Dr. J9 truth. So if you have any unresolved anger, so when we think of anger, we think of inflammation, and an inflamed joint is angry, it's inflamed, and this can be very paralyzing. So when we're talking about mind-body-spirit connection and the manifestation of diseases, specifically with rheumatoid arthritis, it could have a lot to do with harbored anger. So do something positive, do something healthy to help to eliminate that anger. So whether that's exercise, whether that's the yoga, deep breathing, whatever you can do to help to healthfully get that anger out of your body, then maybe your joints don't have to have that inflammatory effect. So thanks for joining me today. I'm Dr. Janine, Dr. J9. That was my Dr. J9 truth and my top tips, my 9 in 9, all about rheumatoid arthritis. Be sure to take good care of your health and to do it naturally.